Next up, we have Matt Sykes at Goldman Sachs. Matt, your line is now open.
Great. Thanks for taking my questions. I guess kind of a high-level question for Jason or Mark. Just as you kind of look at sort of the proof points of this this restructuring and shift in what you're doing, particularly from how you're approaching customers. We had moved our model away from new program growth a while ago because we felt the correlation wasn't there, and focusing on active programs. Revenue's obviously going to be key KPI, but as you kind of give advice to the sell side in terms of how to measure success of this shift, what are some of the KPIs that we should really be focusing on at this point?
We're going to be focused on cash flow first and foremost. And so now cash flow is a function, of course, of cash revenue and cash OpEx. And so that's where a lot of the energy of the company is going to be. We have to prove that we can operate the programs economically. So I think, Matt, that's pretty important. On the sort of volume side, which is what you're getting at, is there going to be like a substitute for the program metric or something like that? We're going to need a little bit of time to figure that out. I'm not sure. There certainly will be KPIs. They may be things that we report on but don't guide to. We sort of need to, I think, get a feel for the types of deals that we're going to be signing under the newer sort of commercial terms that Jason outlined today, and the newer offering like Lab Data as a Service.
Got it. Yeah, thank you.
As a reminder, the way we do program counts today involve having things like downstream value share involved in order for it to count. I know a number of the analysts on the call do factor that into their modeling. And so part of what we're doing here is because we're changing the terms, that they wouldn't count. And so we do want to give you all a picture of how things are going, because when we sign deals, that does imply revenue in the future. I do know that's part of the modeling. So we'll work on that.
Got it. Thank you very much for that. And then just on the guidance commentary slide, Jason, you mentioned we prioritizing quality over quantity in terms of programs. With sort of the new approach and including Lab Data as a Service, are there certain types of programs or end markets that are more attractive to achieve sort of that combination of flexibility and scale, but also speed to get that program up and running? And or are there certain, I think you mentioned the difference between those that are attracted to downstream value and those that are not, which is clear, but just sort of, the types of customers that would maybe generate that revenue quicker in terms of either scaling on the platform or just in order of bringing new programs to the platform.
Yeah, great questions. So I think for starters, you will continue to see us, like I showed that slide where we're either selling to the research budget directly. That's the kind of Lab Data as a Service type model where their scientist is in control of our infrastructure, or our scientist is running a program and we're kind of doing a strategic deal with Corp Dev. And I say Corp Dev because they essentially are the ones who negotiate research partnerships upstream or down, like I acquire an asset and I also sign a research partnership with a small biotech, right? I'm the large biopharma Corp Dev leader. Like that we're like the half of that deal that's like the research partnership half, right? That's what we're selling to. We still have a pipeline of those. We'll still do those. I think frequently those will still involve downstream value share. They're going to be like a whole bunch all at once. And really the customer for those is large biopharma. Okay. And to a lesser degree, maybe large ag companies. All right. The research budget, on the other hand, I think we have a really good opportunity with smaller biopharma startups and biotechs that are still getting funded and are making choices in a limited capital environment about how much they want to spend on their laboratory infrastructure. How much do they want to spend building that stuff out? How much do they want to spend on equipment? All that upfront cost. I think with their side, what they are uncompromising on. This is why again, these are things you realize over time. We're fundamentally selling a new thing. Those small biopharma biotechs will never give up scientific control. And so with our Lab Data as a Service, where now their scientists can run our infrastructure, we can sell to those guys for the first time. So I'm really excited about that area in particular when it comes to Lab Data as a Service. Last one I'll mention, in industrial biotechnology, we've had a hard time selling into the bigger companies there, okay? Because they don't really do those types of research partnerships that pharma does. It's a lower margin industry, but they do have research budget. They have research teams. So I think Lab Data as a Service is also a way as an entree into some of those larger and chemical and other industrial biotech companies where we've had more friction selling on the strategic deals. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep. And in general, like I like it. Like I think it gives us more, like these things also reinforce each other. I think one of the things people are always like, oh, don't call yourself a CRO or something, which is closer to what the lab data as a service is. And that's because when we're talking to the strategic half of the house, they're like, I wouldn't do a strategic deal with a CRO, right? And so there's sort of a, when we're talking to those folks, they are evaluating our scientists, they're evaluating whether we can do a multi-year deal. And we're really great at that. And we're good at engaging with those people. People already think of us that way, right? They think of us as strategic. So what I am excited about though is we can now walk into same customer, different part of the organization, and our reputation of over here is going to help us over here. And so I am excited to cross sell to both the kind of directly to the R&D mid level and senior leadership as well as more strategic. It's going to help.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.